If you've ever dreamed of having an earthworm factory right in your backyard, producing rich, crumbly soil faster than any bagged compost you can buy, the secret might surprise you. It's herbs. Not just any herbs, but 3 powerful varieties that naturally attract, feed, and multiply earthworms in your garden beds like nothing else. These herbs don't just smell good or make your meals tastier. They work quietly underground, creating a worm paradise and transforming poor soil into fertile black gold. Once you understand why they work, you'll start planting them in every corner of your yard. The first powerhouse in this trio is chamomile. Most gardeners grow chamomile for its calming tea, but in the soil, it's a worm magnet. Chamomile roots release mild natural compounds that seem to encourage earthworms to linger, and when the plant dies back, it leaves behind soft, decomposable matter that worms love to munch on. Even its flowers, when trimmed and dropped onto the soil, break down quickly, offering a steady food supply for your worm population. Plant chamomile around garden borders or in between rows of veggies, and you'll notice that the soil stays looser, moister, and more alive. The second herb is yarrow, often overlooked in the herb garden, but absolutely adored by worms. Yarrow's deep roots draw up minerals from lower soil layers, minerals that become available to your topsoil when the plant's leaves die back or are used as mulch. Earthworms go wild for this mineral-rich feast. Yarrow also has a reputation for improving compost breakdown speed, meaning that when its leaves fall to the ground, they not only feed worms but also help other organic matter decompose more efficiently. This double action effect turns your garden beds into worm-friendly habitats that are constantly regenerating. Plus, yarrow's feathery leaves provide excellent cover for keeping soil cool and moist, conditions earthworms thrive in. You can scatter yarrow along paths, use it as a low-maintenance ground cover, or mix it into perennial herb beds. It's drought-tolerant and tough, so you're not trading extra work for all these benefits. The third member of our worm-attracting dream team is fennel. And before you worry, no, we're not talking about planting it next to crops that dislike its strong presence. Fennel works best when planted in its own patch, or in a worm-friendly composting corner. The magic is in its hollow stems and aromatic foliage. As fennel grows, its roots help aerate the soil, creating pathways for earthworms to travel and lay eggs. When you prune or harvest fennel fronds, chop them and drop them right where the worms can find them. Fennel's decomposing greens seem to have a unique ability to draw worms quickly, possibly because of the complex sugars and aromatic oils they contain. The fennel patch essentially becomes a worm buffet, and the soil underneath will be absolutely loaded with worm castings in just a few months. When you combine these 3 herbs, chamomile, yarrow, and fennel, you create a diverse menu and habitat that supports earthworms year-round. Chamomile provides quick, soft organic matter that decomposes easily. Yarrow offers nutrient density and soil-cooling ground cover. Fennel supplies structural habitat and slow-release food from its fronds and stems. Together, they keep the worms well-fed and comfortable, encouraging them to reproduce faster and stay in your garden beds instead of wandering elsewhere. More worms mean more worm castings, and worm castings are, hands down, one of the most potent natural fertilizers you can get. They improve soil structure, increase water retention, and provide a balanced mix of nutrients that plants can absorb immediately. To start your earthworm factory, choose a section of your garden to plant all 3 herbs in a cluster. You can mix them into vegetable beds, or dedicate a separate worm-friendly plot. Keep the area mulched with shredded leaves or grass clippings to help maintain moisture. Worms are incredibly sensitive to drying out. Avoid disturbing the soil too often. Gentle surface cultivation is fine, but deep digging can disrupt worm tunnels and egg cocoons. Once your plants are established, you'll start noticing the soil becoming darker, crumblier, and easier to work. Lift the mulch, and you might even see dozens of worms wriggling just beneath the surface, feeding and aerating the earth. If you want to supercharge the process, pair your herbs with a green mulch strategy, periodically chopping the herbs back and letting the foliage fall right where it grew. This creates a constant layer of organic matter breaking down on top of the soil, essentially serving as a worm dinner table that's always open. The result? A thriving worm population that works around the clock to turn your garden into a living, breathing ecosystem. Many gardeners spend money on worm castings by the bag, but with these 3 herbs, you can get nature to produce them for free, and in quantities you never thought possible. Within 1 season, you'll see a dramatic improvement in plant health, soil fertility, and overall garden resilience. Earthworms aren't just a nice bonus, they're a cornerstone of healthy soil. They pull organic matter down into the root zone, their tunnels improve drainage and aeration, and their castings act as a perfectly balanced fertilizer. By planting chamomile, yarrow, and fennel, you're not just adding herbs to your garden, you're investing in a living workforce that keeps your plants thriving naturally. The beauty of this method is that it's low maintenance, completely organic, and beneficial for both the plants and the soil life you depend on. Once you see the results, you'll probably find yourself tucking these herbs into every available space, creating little worm factories all over your garden. It's the kind of quiet, behind-the-scenes gardening magic that transforms not just your harvests, but the very foundation your garden grows on.